Welcome to the Chaos Plan, where the odds may not always be in your favor. Thank you once again for joining us for another episode of the Chaos Plan. This week, I am joined by Arpeggio, who is going to run through some downtime days and get caught up with the rest of the group. So then hopefully we can do some really crazy mix and matchups of all of the different characters together in some interesting new campaign games. So, Arpeggio, you will be starting on basically the 18th of planting. We just got done taking down that that smuggling ring with the Scorch. Found some really messed up stuff about that orphanage. And after you got done with that, I'm sure, we all kind of would have just gone and collapsed wherever we were staying. And so we'll be starting kind of that very next morning on the 18th of planting. So, what would you do upon waking?
Upon waking, I would be chopping some wood for Isla, as I've kind of made it into a routine on my morning rituals. So after chopping firewood for Isla in the tavern, and I would be cleaning up my gear. And after a quick breakfast, I will be heading to the Fighters Guild to complete my job or my contract.
Okay, yeah. You spend, the early morning, eat a different breakfast. Don't start too quick because it's a crazy day the day before. And so you make your way down to the Fighters Guild. You get there about mid-morning, and you see all of your spear training troops. They have quit pretty much stabbing themselves and their neighbors. People in the rows in the front and the back, they're still poking in the back every once in a while, but they're starting to get a hang of it. So go ahead and roll me a persuasion check or some sort of charisma check or something that you can justify to train these troops as your last day with them, to get them in a good enough fighting shape they do more damage to the enemy than themselves.
I would probably use an effective way that one of my trainers as a mercenary did for me, is to insult the trainees, and to make
I love it.
And once they like mess up because they get too roused, or what they call that, or they just mess up and they get just too emotional from being insulted, and then I would point out their mistakes and fix them from there. So in that case, I think an intimidation would work.
Yeah, go for it.
You think so? Oh, that's a 15.
Okay, yeah, that is more than enough. You've been calling them every name that you can think of that's mildly insulting to themselves and their families. And, a few of them do get very worked up and throw down their spears in frustration but most of them, are able to use that frustration and everything, and they're able to harness it and really focus on what they're doing. And by the end of, let's go ahead and I'll roll a d6 to see how long this takes you. And at the end of about 3 hours, you have definitely got a pretty decent militia started here. You're pretty sure that they're not going to be taking out any Tarasques anytime soon, but, they could handle the goblin patrols and kobolds and whatnot that you would see in a lot of raiding parties. So yeah, you're pretty sure you've got a pretty decent fighting force here. So then it would be right after lunchtime. You say goodbye, wish them well, and you go back up to the guild office, and they pay you, because of how well it turned out, they pay you a whole 3 gold pieces for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they, say, you really done a great job. I mean, we heard that there was some crazy business down by the docks with an orphanage and some crazy stuff. I don't know the details yet, but word has it that you were involved with that. Is that true?
Indeed, I am. To be honest, I am actually on my way to the Temple District to file my report. So, if you want to hear more about it, you can probably ask them.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. You aren't going to join the Justice Temple, are you? I mean, we would love to have you here. If it's a matter of, which guild, we would be more than happy to have you here. Don't run off to the Temple Guild.
Oh no, I mean, writing a report is kind of a force of habit. That's my days as a mercenary. I'm usually in charge of the paperwork after a job's done, so...
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, then, if it wasn't obvious enough, when you get done with that, come back tomorrow morning because it'll take the better part of a day. So come back tomorrow morning and we'll get you, actually inducted into the Fighters Guild itself. We would love to have you here. You've been doing a great job. And if half of the rumors that I heard are true about what you did with that orphanage and the Scorch, you're going to fit right in with all of us here. There's a great number that kind of run the line between the Justice Temple and the Fighters Guild here. A lot of people that do a really good job to help this town out.
I'll definitely keep that in mind. But yeah, I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, we will see you then. Just show up sometime mid-morning. Don't wake up crazy early. But it will take the better part of the day, so if there's anything you need to do, run your errands in the morning.
Very well.
All right, so then you take off from there, I'm assuming, and head straight for the temple?
What would be the time at this point?
Yeah, at this point it would be just after lunch, so like 1 p.m.-ish or so.
I guess I would be just running by a baker, just get a quick lunch, and I actually want to head back to the orphanage to see what's going on before I file in my report.
So, DM Braden, I apologize for stepping on your toes, but I'm taking over your... So, you head down towards the orphanage area, and, it's kind of a mess right now. There's, a lot of people milling around, looking around, seeing what happened. Even though the official report hasn't gone out, rumors spread like wildfire through here. So there's enough snooping type individuals running around that it's pretty crowded. You're able to work your way through. Nobody really recognizes that you're, there, because while you did have a big role in it, they heard that it was somebody with a massive spear and this banner that flowed, like a flag in the wind, and this mighty warrior of legend appeared, kind of a thing. The rumors have been blown up crazy. So while they do notice you there, they don't necessarily think that you're one of the heroes per se. So you are able to talk to some of the guards and whatnot, explain your situation, and go ahead and give me a persuasion roll real quick to see how much of the orphanage you'll be able to access.
That's a 14.
Yeah, you're very easily able to convince them that, you actually were the one that was, a part of this, and, as part of your report, you want to get back in there and make sure that everything's up to snuff and that you have all your details right. So you get back inside the orphanage, and where would you like to go? Do you want to go back into that basement where all the craziness happened, or do you just kind of want to check up on the kids and whatnot, or what would you be doing here?
Actually, at first I would like to check up on the kids, although Arpeggio doesn't think that they would be remaining there for the time being. But after checking on the kids, she would probably go ahead and check on the basement where the battle was fought.
Yeah, and that is a quick note. Now that you've actually used the pronoun, I didn't record it earlier. You are going back to a female character in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you said, it just feels that's how you made it. That's how you made your character originally, so that's what feels right. So just making that note for everybody for pronouns that are switching around. But yeah, so you are able to see that there are still children in there. It doesn't look like they're actually staying there. It looks like, they gave the kids guards while they slept that night, and now they're packing all the kids' belongings up. They're making sure that everything is lined up for them to find new homes and new places until all this craziness dies down. You notice that there are mostly clerics that are supervising these children. You can tell that Many of them are with the Temple of Justice, but there are also ones that are with the temples that worship, like, I don't want to say fertility deities, but the ones that are about children, about nurturing, raising families, all of that kind of stuff. Those kind of clerics and those kind of worshipers are all there, helping these children pack up their belongings and get them out. And a lot of them are still pretty, I don't want to say shocked, in a state of shock, but they are still kind of deer in the headlights, just massive eyes, not really seeing what's around them, all kind of in a daze, as many of the things that they saw they can't explain or they don't want to explain. But the clerics that see your look of concern do reassure you that, they'll be fine in time. We're going to get them out of here for a little bit, and eventually they may come back. Hopefully with all this publicity that's going on about this incident, we'll be able to find good homes for these children very quickly. Would you like to talk to any of them, or are you just going to kind of mill around and check the scene out?
I would probably just ask for a general idea of where I can find the kids, if not here.
Yeah, you're able to find one of the closest clerics, and they tell you that many of the children will be coming back with us to the Temple District. We already have some individuals in both the Commons and in the Nobles District that are looking at what they can do to help these children out. So we are very blessed that is occurring. But for the next couple of days, at least, until we make sure that they're all ready to go, they will be staying with us at the temple. And until many of them feel they are ready to go back into the world as a whole, they will remain there.
Okay. I will then be heading to the scene of the crime then.
All right. You get over to where those stairs lead down into the basement, and the second you see that first stair, it's just a flashback of the battle that took place, the betrayal, the unveiling of the true villain, the bodies that I believe it was you that discovered, wasn't it? Because you pulled one of them out.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one I pulled out, though. I don't remember.
I don't remember. I think Braden just described that there were two bodies under there. One of them ended up being the real matron of the orphanage. I don't remember which one you pulled out, though. So yeah, you just kind of get this flashback of everything that happened and the craziness, and it's definitely a bit of a blow to your psyche, but you're able to head down those stairs if you wish.
Yeah. Do I remember if the body of the small creature, did it also melt like the Harlequin-esque hag that we fought?
I believe so, because I think they were both those kind of weird. Now, well, the one was a Harlequin, but I think they were both those kind of weird aberration type creatures. So I would assume so. I don't remember if Braden specified or not. So we'll just go ahead and say for canon's sake that until we hear otherwise, that they both did. Either the body was removed from the scene already, or it melted. One of the two.
Okay. If that's the case, I would just stay there for a few minutes. Just try to remember some details that I might have forgotten in the heat of the battle that I might have not noticed. All right, take a deep breath, and then after a while I would start making my way to the Temple District. Yeah,
go ahead then and roll me a real quick history check.
14.
14. All right, yeah. Then you've got a good enough idea, and you notice some things that you didn't before. Like when you were down at the bottom of the stairs battling, you see where there were strike marks from at the top of the stairs from when the betrayal first happened, and that battle started up there. Because I believe my character, I was swinging my glaive around at the top of the stairs for quite a while. So yeah, you're able to see that there's a lot of marks at the top of the stairs that you didn't notice before. You're able to get some finer details of what happened as far as blood spatter, as far as spell effects, that kind of stuff. You're able to see some of those that you didn't quite get during the battle. So I'm going to say when you write your report, you have advantage on the roll to get all the details down correctly.
No, something just occurred while remembering what has been happening during that fight. She remembers that she got whacked by a mallet. She looks around to see if the mallet is still in the room,
Go ahead and roll me a d20. Let me know if it's 15 or higher.
It's a 12.
A 12. Unfortunately, the hammer, probably like the body of the small creature, was either taken or dissolved. You don't 100% remember.
Okay, fair enough.
All right. So then would you exit the orphanage, or are you going to spend a little bit more time here?
Yeah, I would exit the orphanage at this point.
Okay. So then where would you like to go from here?
Yeah, I would head to the temple district and file in my report.
All right. You head that way. You spent, we'll say, about 45 minutes to an hour there. So it's about 2, 3 o'clock by the time you get into the Temple's Guild and find where you're supposed to go to fill in all of the report information and all of that. So go ahead and roll your history check with advantage to see how precise you get.
With advantage, 17.
17. Your report is pretty darn accurate. There's a few blank spots that you don't remember, what everybody was doing, but the lighting wasn't great. You were down at the bottom of the stairs. Some of it happened behind you. It was all a mess. So you're able to get at least 90% of it as accurate as possible. So they are very grateful for that report. They tell you, hey, this is great what you're doing. You're not part of the Temple Guild or anything, but you're helping us out with this. We really appreciate it. So if you need anything, a small favor or whatever, let us know. We'd be more than happy to help you out. Just give us a shout, and we'll do what we can to help you out.
And who would I contact if I aim to cash in on this favor?
Just find any of the justice clerics. We'll spread the word that we owe you a favor, and any of our clerics will be able to help fulfill that. Or you can come here to the temple itself and talk to one of us directly.
Very well. I bid you good day.
He wishes you a good day as well. So then, would you head back to the inn, grab some supper, or what would you do kind of on your way back to the inn, or anything else?
Yeah, I would head into the inn, but before taking, maybe during supper, I would be writing a letter back home and just letting them know what has transpired within the past few days.
Awesome. Yeah, Isla sees you, writing your paper or writing your letter and everything, and her usual extremely social, jovial, in-your-face nature backs off just a little bit as she gives you some space to write your letter and everything. But the second you fold that letter up, she is right there asking you, "Oh my gosh, I heard all this crazy stuff about what happened over at this orphanage, and I think you're one of the people that was there, weren't you? Oh, it sounds absolutely crazy and marvelous what happened. That was such a good thing that you did for those children. It's so terrible what happened to them." And just on, as if she was holding back this surge of questions and of talking to you.
I probably haven't answered a single question at that point.
It's great.
Okay, first of all, yes, I was there, and it was intense, and yes, it was horrible, and yeah, that was crazy.
She definitely listens to all of your stories with this wide-eyed attention of almost like, like when somebody meets their hero or one of the people that they idolize, kind of a thing. She is just looking up at you. You can tell that she was probably, as a younger halfling, somebody that was super interested in adventuring and these big crazy things that are going on. So she just relishes your story. And he doesn't even wait for you to ask for a refill of whatever you're drinking. She just runs back, grabs it, and brings it back. Brings 2 cups so that you don't have to interrupt the story when you run out of the first one.
Have we discussed what Isla's age is? Is she does she seem like older than me, or kind of like on the same age?
Yeah, she would be a little bit older. She's probably, in relative terms, early to mid 40s, something like that.
So I take it that Arpeggio just understand that her jovial nature is more of a halfling thing rather than a age thing.
Oh, yeah. And as a halfling, that's fairly typical. Halflings are very, especially ones that work in a hospitality type thing, working in inns and whatnot, are very good-natured as a kind of a general rule. But, it's probably to do with her personality and her halfling nature and the fact that she runs an inn in the commons. Just, yeah.
All right, I guess I probably spend an extra time to chat up with Isla until I get tired. I get sleepy myself and head on to bed.
All right. Then Isla also, sees that you're starting to get a little bit tired and says, "Oh, don't worry. We'll have plenty of time to talk later. Thank you very much for entertaining me with this marvelous story." Then you are able to very easily return to your room. You get a pretty decent night's sleep. It was, once again, the day two, or the day after, you're still pretty exhausted, but, you had an easier day today other than the training and whatnot. So then, upon waking the next morning, this would be now the 19th of planting. What would you like to do?
As agreed upon with the Fighters Guild, I would actually, I will do my morning rituals, clean my armor, chop firewood for Ida, and actually taking advice from certain people from the early days. I would take my mornings a little bit slower, so I would take my time doing those morning rituals.
Okay.
And I would actually pass the letter to my parents, to Isla, for her to send off. And then eventually I will make my way to the Fighters Guild.
Yeah, you're able to take a leisurely morning. Isla, appreciates having the company to talk to, while she's doing some of her morning chores and whatnot, getting the inn ready for another big lunch rush and everything. So, she enjoys chatting with you as you're chopping firewood and everything. And, you're able to make sure that your armor is the sparkliest it has ever been. Taking your morning slower just means that you polished your armor for an extra 30 minutes.
To be fair, I'm not trying to make it very sparkly. I'm just making sure that it's not necessarily perfect condition, in working condition. I don't want to have some certain malfunctions in the middle of a crucial moment or something.
Oh yeah, I get it. I'm just giving you a hard time. So yeah, you're able to make sure that everything is as tip-top shape as you can possibly get it. And you then make your way up towards the Fighters Guild. You walk a little bit slower, enjoying the scenery, and you notice, there are a lot of crazy buildings and setups as far as shops and just people in general. It's absolutely ridiculous at how many peoples and cultures and everything are here. The walk is just so much to take in. But you make your way up finally to the Fighters Guild. You see that everything is well in swing at this point. The morning training is done. A lot of the guys out in the training yard are starting to, take their first breaks and whatnot from training. You can see that there's a lot of hustle and bustle, people running papers over to the job board over by the Mages Guild and, pinning them up. You can see people bringing in jobs to sign up for. And you see the same receptionist person behind the main counter there that you saw yesterday when you were turning in your job. And she says to you, "Oh, I'm glad to see you're here already. Well, let us get started. Is there anything that you need to do real quick before we start your initiation into the guild? It'll take the better part of the day, so it'll be around supper time by the time you get done."
I don't have anything else scheduled for the day, so might as well do it now.
Okay, well then let's get started. She leads you back to kind of a, I don't want to say a locker room, but a changing room, a locker room, something along those lines, and tells you to suit up into this practice armor and with a practice glaive or a practice spear, whatever polearm that you're using. And says, one of the things that we like to do here at the Fighters Guild is to kind of show everybody what we can do. And so, as one of the new recruits, we'll put you through the paces real quick. And it's a practice match, of course, so we're following some standard rules and making sure nobody actually dies. And also making sure that anything that you bring in is your own power, not power from something else. So, as a commander, you aren't able to do a whole lot without your standard as far as abilities, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and say that you're allowed to keep your spear, but you're not able to use any of its magical abilities, but you can still use any of your commander abilities, because I don't want to handicap you that much, since your battle standard is your magic item kind of a thing. So you're able to get suited up with everything. You're able to keep your polearm and your standard, and you suit up in the armor that they provide for you, the practice armor, and you head out into this very large gladiatorial-style arena.
While checking on the armor, I want to inspect it if it's up to par.
Oh yeah, this is definitely a worn set. This isn't a brand new set by any means, so it's seen its share of scuffs and scratches and whatnot, but it's usable. It's not going to fall apart on you mid-battle, but it is definitely practice armor. You can tell that it's got extra padding to it. It's a little bit heavier than normal armor would be, but it's practice stuff.
Yeah. Okay. While wearing the armor, I do a few maneuvers, just making sure that my movements are that restricted. And once I'm satisfied, I'll head out.
Yeah. While you're doing all that and running through your maneuvers, you can hear that they're announcing out in the arena general, or the arena proper, that a new recruit will be joining us here in the guild. We would like to introduce them and give them a proper introduction into the Fighters Guild. So, and then, when you're done, all of your warm-ups and stuff. So, welcome, Arpeggio! And, the great doors are thrown open and you're able to march out, or walk out, however you want to get out there. So, go ahead and make some sort of charisma check to either excite or intimidate or show off or something along those lines to the crowds.
I'll just stoically walk towards the center of the... I assume this is a fighting pit of some sort, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, walk towards the center, just turn around slowly, acknowledging everyone's presence. Just do a curt salute.
All right, yeah, you hear the crowd go absolutely crazy. You can see that there's some of the shiftier types, kind of mumbling to each other, but they're the cloak and dagger style, so you're not too worried about them being super impressed with your display. But you can see many of the polearm wielders, many of the heavier armored individuals. You recognize several paladins in the group, or some sort of holy warriors of some variety in the group that all, are very impressed with what you are doing. Go ahead and roll a quick check of some variety, charisma or possibly athletics or something along those lines, to kind of impress the group as a whole.
I think I will make a performance check.
All right, go ahead.
15. Wait, why is this on advantage? Oh, same thing. Yeah, 15.
All right, so you stoically stand out there, you salute. Your presence is enough that, like I said, many of the heavier armored individuals, many of the polearm users, many of the archetypal fighters are very impressed with your display. The cloak and dagger types, the scouts, the shiftier ones aren't as impressed, but, you probably weren't going to. The fact that you were wearing armor kind of gave that away at the very Yeah, so you stand out there. Many of them are very impressed with that display. And, you step out there. They kind of, they let you do your little salute thing. They wait for the cheering to die down. And then they announce out to the group, "Let us see what she can do." And you see the gates on the other side open. And standing before you, roll me a D10. And then I'll roll one as well.
9.
A 9, all right. A Dragonborn fighter stands before you, but rather than the standard sword and board or great sword wielding fighter, this individual seems to be wielding I'm rolling on my exotic weapons table because I want something fun. Ooh, this fighter seems to be wielding a double-bladed sword. So a long blade on each end, almost as long as a spear, with a grip in the middle. They start swinging this thing around extremely quickly. And it's definitely a practice weapon. You can already see that it's got a blunt edge to it. And the armor that they're wearing appears to be some sort of chain shirt, but it is practice armor as well. And they advance on you. They kind of raise after they do this big flourish to show off to the crowd, which the crowd goes crazy for. They stop and kind of hold up their weapon in your direction before stamping it onto the ground. So go ahead and we will roll initiative.
All right. That's a 14 for me.
All right, and they got a whopping 12. So you will be going first.
Just to be sure, any of the magical abilities that come from my standard is not available for this match, but my commander stuff are available, right?
Correct, yeah. It's supposed to be a no magic, only your powers kind of a thing.
All right, okay, fair enough. In that case, I will be taking the cord that ties my standard in a roll in my spear, and I will pull it out, unfurl the flag, do a little flourish, and take my stance, spearhead pointed towards the Dragonborn, and I'm gonna hold my action until they get within range.
Alright. Then on to their turn, they do this big flourish with the weapon again as they pick up speed and charge towards you. So for you within range would be 10 feet, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so they get within 10 feet of you. Go ahead and take your attack. Or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna attack. That is 16.
16 hits exactly.
Okay, that will be 10 piercing damage. Since this is no magic stuff, non-magical damage.
Alright, yeah, you bring your pole arm down, and with a great thrust, they kind of oof as they were charging towards you. It definitely breaks the force of that charge, but they kind of roll to the side and get within your guard, and then they swing that blade at you, striking twice. First one definitely won't hit, so as, the wind was knocked out of them, they whiff it, within inches in front of your chest. And the second one I think will hit, 16 plus 4 for a 20.
Yeah, that hits.
All right. Then with the swing around to the other side, they bring it onto your shoulder and strike you, dealing 7 points of damage as they bring this heavy double-bladed weapon down onto your shoulder. And they are now within your guard, and it is your turn.
Okay. I would like to use Icon of Might, and as a bonus action, you create a radius around your character equal to their battle standard range, 10 feet. Targets must be able to use battle standard, and I have the roll. Okay, that's a 15, so just a normal. Enemy creatures within the radius of your battle standard suffer -1 to attack rolls until they move outside the effective area.
All right.
As an action, I would feint with attacking with my spear point, but instead I'm gonna turn around and hit him with the butt of my spear.
All right.
And that's a 22.
Yes, that very easily hits.
That's 5 bludgeoning damage.
All right. That feint, as you go to strike, and then you immediately stop and spin around and catch them with the butt end of the spear. They kind of rattle a bit, but they have enough mass, enough weight behind them that it didn't have as much force as your initial strike did. They then, after receiving that blow, are going to just press that momentum that they had earlier and strike you 2 more times. Once on the right side of the body, and then the second one, we'll see if this strikes. First one doesn't hit again. That's only a 15 to hit.
Mm-hmm. Nope.
So then they go to strike you at your side, but your spear, having done that feint, you're able to catch it with your spear and reflect it just a little bit. They then bring it down in an overhead strike and another big swirl, and that definitely won't hit. That was only a 10 total. So they go to bring it down above you, but you are able to nimbly sidestep, and it swings there, and it just completely wishes the air where you were standing. As a bonus action, they cry out in a rage-filled voice and say, "Not today!" And you can tell that they're getting pumped up, and they gain some temporary hit points. So go ahead, and what would you like to do now?
I would like to step back 15 feet away from him. I will accept the opportunity attack.
Yep. Oh my gosh, that's a 10 again. Okay, on to you.
As my action, I would be using Ambit of Authority, which within 10 feet radius around me, I would be using Ferocity, which is Fortitude, which is a damage reduction of 1.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's my. Oh, that's a bonus action. Okay, then as my action, I will be holding my attack whenever he comes within range again.
All right. Once again, after that roar and swinging at you as you jump back and got out of the way, they charge at you again and go ahead and make your attack once they get within 10 foot.
Ooh, 14?
14 is 2 points short.
All right.
Okay. They charge in then, and once again, gaining that little bit of momentum, they strike at you. That one won't hit either, I don't think. 17?
No.
Nope.
I'm 18.
All right. That's kind of what I thought. And then swings at you again, using that momentum in a turn as they turn their back to you, spin around, and strike at you from the side. That one will hit, though. That was a 19 naturally. So then they deal to you 7 points of damage. And then you're -1, of course. Okay, we are then on to your turn. They are breathing heavy. You're pretty sure that the temporary hit points are kind of what's keeping them up at this point.
All right, and I will wind up. I'm gonna wind up for hopefully a great thrust towards him.
Okay.
Oh, that's 16.
16, yes, that hits exactly.
That is 10.
All right, as they brought that blade across you on the last round, it kind of pushed you back just a little bit, and you used that backwards momentum to ready your spear, and then you thrust it forward, and you caught them square, and you took them almost all of their temp hit points out. Oh, you did actually take all their temp hit points out. So then they are still just heaving. Their armor is you can hear the chains rattling together. They're breathing so heavily.
Yeah, as a bonus action, I would be using Icon of Might again.
Okay.
That's a mishap. I rolled an 8, so no effect.
Okay. We then move on to their turn with another great heaving breath. They cry out as they strike at you. This time they are going to first swirl the blade down and come down on your right shoulder, but biff it again. That was an 11. And then that -1, it wouldn't have mattered, and then that one's only a 15. So both of those strikes, this exhaustion has taken them, and both of those strikes don't have the speed behind them, and you're easily able to dodge out of the way. Back to you, Seth.
I will be, taking my battle standard, and how do you describe this? I'm just gonna taking the half of my battle standard and just thrust it against his nose.
Oh, ow.
Or snoot.
Yes, yes. Oh, man.
Okay. Natural 20.
Oh, goodness. All right. You don't even have to roll damage for that one. It catches him right in the snout, and he drops the blade, grabbing on, and with one knee on the ground, he says, "I yield," because he only had 4 hit points left. So he says, "I yield," as he goes down on one knee, and the crowd erupts into this massive applause. The fight master of ceremony, whatever you want to say, comes out onto the grounds near you and shouts out, "Congratulations, Arpeggio, on impressing this rowdy bunch of ruffians," and you see them all laugh and clap and roar. "We would be greatly honored to have you join our ranks. What say you?"
Well, if I am to work with great warriors such as him, I wouldn't mind. It would be my honor.
Okay, and the crowd roars even louder, and you see even the Dragonborn, one hand covering his snoot, kind of, clapping the side of his leg, in applause or whatever, the best he's able to. And the master of ceremony grabs your hand with the standard in it and raises it into the air, and they uproar even more, and it's deafening. This sound is just coming from all around you. and then you are led from the arena. The same receptionist gal that that led you into here tells you to clean up, change into your regular armor, polish whatever you need to, and then meet back in the main hall, which is kind of where you would have entered in from. So I'm assuming you do all that, get cleaned up, and presented it and everything?
Yeah, pretty much. That's what she would be doing.
Okay. You get yourself all cleaned up, all presentable, and you head back into the main hall. You can see that there's a crowd that's gathered, not as many ruffians, but these would be more of, older members. You can tell they probably have some sort of standing within the guild. And they are all kind of forming this semicircle with the guild master in the middle of it. So you see the guild leader, Dane Silverlight, a silver dragonborn with a great shield in the motif of a dragon's mouth kind of opening, and a very long greatsword on his back. You're pretty sure it's a greatsword, so you're not sure how he's doing the whole sword and board with a two-handed greatsword, but somehow he pulls it off. And he's standing there with a rolled up piece of parchment, as well as a pin of the Fighters Guild itself. And as you enter into this semicircle, he says, "We welcome Arpeggio into our midst. Do you, Arpeggio, swear to uphold the honor and the reputation of the Fighters Guild?"
I do, as long as the guild honors their own reputation.
Okay, he nods his head, and he says, "Do you swear to not betray the Fighters Guild, to take jobs in honor, and to fulfill them to the best of your ability?"
I certainly do.
He says, "Then welcome Arpeggio into our midst, the newest recruit of the Fighters Guild." And he hands out the scroll to you as well as the pin.
A scroll and a pen.
The scroll has just got the vows that you just spoke or whatever to the guild written down on it, along with the signature from Dane Silverhand saying that you're a member of the guild. And then this, I don't want to really call it a pin or a magnet or a patch or whatever, but it's kind of all those, this magic item that you can kind of stamp your armor or, stamp a cloak, whatever with, and it will leave the symbol of the Fighters Guild on it. So that is what you have been given.
Okay.
All right. At this point, there is a lot of applause, a lot of shaking of hands. Everybody's talking to you, trying to get to know you, that kind of a thing. And then a large feast is going to be held that night, and they all kind of regale you with war stories and ask you about the things that you've been a part of, hearing about the orphanage and all of that kind of stuff. So that basically takes up a majority of the rest of the evening with you conversing and getting to know the different Fighters Guild members. So then you would be getting done with that celebration about, we'll call it 8 p.m. or so.
Okay, I assume that I would be having supper during that feast or something.
Yeah. You'd get supper and all that other kind of stuff. You would be fed basically while you were there. Is there anything else you would do then that evening after you get done with that Fighters Guild celebration thing?
No, I'll just be chatting up with the veterans and eagerly listening to their, if they have advice to give and so forth. And I will regale them on some of my achievements. Even maybe talk a bit about my time as a mercenary. And maybe around 9, if the feast hasn't died down, I would just quietly slip away and head back to the drunk mug.
It's pretty much died down by 9 o'clock when you get out of there. And you head back to the drunk mug. Isla sees your Fighters Guild emblem and congratulates you as you make your way up to your room. So then, what would you like to do then the next day?
Well, with the morning rituals out of the way, I would try to find some new equipment, and if I still have time, I would be checking the Fighters Guild board for probably new jobs that are available.
Okay, not a problem. You make your way then from the drunk mug over towards merchant area, and you see that there is every kind of stall and shop that you can possibly imagine up that direction. What kind of gear and equipment would you be looking for?
Um, maybe I would like to find a helm of some sort, like head protection, and maybe a better quality of sword, and see if I can better quality of a long sword that I can probably afford.
Okay.
Same thing with the helm.
Yeah, you're able to. You would know that the Fighters Guild would be a good place to do that, as many of the individuals there, the blacksmiths there, are still kind of training. So, quote-unquote +1 sword would be fairly expensive, around 100 gold-ish or so. But you know that a lot of the blacksmiths in the Fighters Guild do, craft weapons for people, and because it's practice and they're getting training, they would actually sell them to you at a little bit of a discount. So you are able to make your way over then to the Fighters Guild area. Let's see, the 20th of planting. Let me check my adventure log to see where Virgil was at on the 20th of planting. Yeah, Virgil would have been crafting that day as part of the deal. So, Virgil, if you want to hop in and join us while Seth buys crap from you, you could. So, Seth, you approach the smiths of the Fighters Guild, and you see that it's a very busy day, business as usual in the smithing type area. So there are every kind of variety of individuals out there smithing. There is a beast folk looking individual, kind of a typical werewolf, that seems to be working on some sort of ranged weaponry of some variety. It looks like a large crossbow, almost a ballista or a ballista sized item. You see that there is other individuals working on just refining ore, smithing, shaping, all that kind of stuff. And then one dwarf catches your eye. You'd think you've seen him around the Fighters Guild before, but you're not 100% sure. A red-bearded dwarf, very ripcord style muscle, seems to be carrying a very sharp sword on his belt, but he's using an exquisite looking smithing hammer to do some amazing things with the metal that he is currently working.
I would approach this dwarf, and I would just say, "Oh there, may I borrow you for quite a bit?"
I drop my hammer, or set my hammer down, and kind of wipe the soot and stuff off my blade. Of course, how can I help you?
I take, I kind of scan his appearance. Does he seem to have some sort of an indication of him being part of any guild or of some sort?
Yeah, to be a smith in the Fighters Guild, you have to be, or to smith in the Fighters Guild smithing area, you have to be a member of the Fighters Guild.
My apologies. My name is Arpeggio. You might not have heard of me since I just recently got indoctrinated here, I suppose.
Congratulations.
Sorry, indoctrinated. I just got done playing Mass Effect. I'm like, oh no, the Reapers, no! Sorry, go ahead.
I was hoping that if you can possibly provide me with a fairly decent headgear and maybe a better cutting weapon.
Certainly. Any particular style of cutting weapon you're interested in? Big weapon, small weapon, medium weapon?
I would prefer a more versatile sword. Maybe if I need to use finesse, or whenever I need to put in all of my strength into the blow, I would prefer some versatility on it.
I draw my sword, and I kind of show him something similar to this, and it's a long sword.
That would do fine.
Just for information, my crafting stuff, I have a couple of different things I can do that aren't in the handbook. I can put a chain attachment on it so you can't be disarmed. I can build like a two-bladed sword, so one of those, like, think Darth Maul from Star Wars, the blades on each side. I could do that. Mm-hmm. And then I also have a katana, which I think it's based a long sword. I don't think it is finesse as well. I don't know. I'd have to ask Rob.
Yeah, katana, the standard damage is 1d8 slashing. It has the versatile property, 1d10, and then improved crit, 19 and 20.
And that's 15 gold?
15 gold pieces, correct.
Okay. Let's see, gotta go back to my stuff. I know I have the metal to do it and whatnot. It's not an issue.
Yeah, well, and you'd be able to use... Oh, if you already have the metal, then, to craft it, then you wouldn't need to... It wouldn't cost you anything other than your time.
I gotta look through my inventory. I know I have it. Oh, I have exactly 15 gold worth of ingot. I knew I had it.
And crafting is 50% of that. So then you would only need to use, we'll just call it 7 gold to keep it simple, because I don't want to mess with silver. So it would cost you 7 gold of materials to craft the katana.
Okay, and yeah, so with also my hammer of the smith, I believe it was crafting takes half time.
Yes, it does. So then we'll say that it would be able, you would be able to do it in, roll me a d6.
3.
You would be able to do it normally in 3 days' time, so we'll say it'll take you a day and a half to complete.
Okay.
And we'll say that that's because, after the blade is actually cooled and everything, and it's sharpened and honed and everything, then you have to work on the handle and the wrapping and all that kind of stuff. So that's why it's going to take that long. Okay, so then, and then with the helmet, since it's just cosmetic, it's not actually going to help your AC. We'll say that it's going to be 1 gold or less, depending on how complex you want to make it.
All right.
And Virgil, you could do that in the same amount of time.
Okay.
So then,
yeah, we'll just add it the same.
Okay, so then we'll go ahead and training montage this for Virgil, because I know that you've got other stuff going on right now. So go ahead and roll me 2 crafting checks.
That is a 20 and a 17. Okay.
Yeah, that katana is like, it's even got that ripple right along where the sharp blade edge meets the thicker part of the sword itself. It's honed enough that you're pretty sure that if you get it too close to your beard, it'll split your beard hair. Just it's the sharpest thing that you have ever seen, and the craftsmanship on the handle and the guard. Would you have the circle guard on it, or would it be a straight katana?
I would just have the without the guard.
Without a guard, okay. Then on the handle itself, within the wrapping, you can see that Virgil carved in where the little diamonds are. There's a bigger diamond in the middle of open space around the wrapping, and you can see the kind of a symbolized version of your standard, whatever that main symbol is on the Sky Standard. You can see that that's engraved in there, really personalized. This is a fantastic weapon. And then, what kind of helmet did you get?
I believe members from my former mercenary group used to have these barbute helmets that has a visor that would cover your face, and I believe some of the higher officers had some sort of horsehair protruding from the top back of it. I think that would be nice. I don't think they would complain since, we just disbanded.
It makes sense. So then, you're able to, Virgil, very easily with that 17. You craft a very fine helmet as well. The horsehair, you weren't able to find the super silky, smooth, gorgeous horsemane or horsehair type deal, but it's very nice nonetheless. With a 17, it would be good enough to sit on any commander's helm.
Okay.
So what would you charge for this?
Okay, so the ingots were 8, I think is what you said. 8 gold.
7. I'm rounding down.
Well, 7 for the sword, and then the helm, I thought you said was 1.
Yeah, nope, that's right. So then, that would be correct.
Okay, so 8. I need to grab my player's handbook. I'll be right back.
Yep, no problem.
Let's see, weapons. Longsword is 15. It's 8. Just round it up to 25 gold for everything, because I think how armor doesn't really give specific pieces.
Yeah, I was going to go just basically 1 gold for the helm, because I think you're not in full plate, you're in breastplate? Half plate, that's right. So then I was going to go with maybe a gold for the helmet, because it's not actually going to improve AC, it's just a cosmetic thing.
Yeah,
say you have to farm those loot boxes. You're going to buy the crystals.
Yeah. 25 gold for everything?
25 gold. Arpeggio would test out the sword, check on the helmet. You do good work, Master Dwarf.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
How much? 25, you say?
25.
I take out 28 gold from my pouch and hand it to him.
Oh,
I love to appreciate good craftsmanship. So,
I do this very formal dwarven bow.
Arpeggio Fairy, if I believe I've introduced myself. But what is your name, Master Dwarf?
Lord Thorin Bronzebeard.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure as well.
I hope to hire your services in the future.
I'm always available.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Virgil, for jumping in.
Yeah, no problem.
Talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right. So then, after all that haggling and whatnot is done, you won't actually get this stuff until tomorrow. So we're just compressing all this together. So for the listeners at home, this is technically happening on the 21st. I'll just make note of that. So you haggle the price, and you leave Thorun to do his work on the 20th of planting. So you basically got that done. Would you like to peruse some more of the shops, or would you like to head out and go to the jobs board?
Yeah, I'm currently satisfied in terms of equipment, so yeah, I'll be heading to the jobs board.
All right. You head over to the jobs board, and you see that there are, once again, it is absolutely full of all sorts of crazy and ridiculous jobs, ranging from, I lost my cat somewhere in the cauldron, all the way up to bandits have been spotted north of town near the Abundance Farm. It's strange creatures, werewolves, and the like have been also possibly spotted around that area. Everything in between. So would you look for, and I decided we're going to go ahead, and I like the CR rating of monsters in meta terms, so we're going to go ahead and use a similar system here for the jobs. So a CR1 would be something that a party of 4 first levels would be able to take on a CR1. So you are able to see there's a whole wide range, ranging from jobs that are less than 1 in difficulty all the way up to 20. So would you find something that would be a single person type job that you can handle on your own, or would you try to find something bigger and possibly meet up with Cherno or Alsfat or Bob or any of those other individuals later?
Yeah, I would probably find a job that would require 1 or 2 other people.
Okay. Would you be looking for something violence-oriented or something more along the lines of escorting or retrieval or training, or what would be something that you would be looking for?
Probably monster hunting.
Okay, yeah, there would definitely be some monster hunting jobs. One that catches your eye right off the bat, it would be a CR1. It would be a challenge rating 1. So 4 first-level characters would be able to take this on. Otherwise, you at a 3rd level would be able to take it on by yourself. It'd be a little bit tough, but, you could do it. You could definitely do it with help. But you do see a job posting there that is fairly ambiguous as to what you are supposed to be hunting. But you do see reports that north of town a little ways, there are reports of some sort of large beast that seems to be attacking livestock in the area. It doesn't sound like anything too terrible. No humans have been hurt, but something is going after cattle and sheep and those kind of things.
Yeah, I will be taking that job thing off the board.
Yeah, you take that off the board. I'm assuming you just head straight to the Fighters Guild, get it assigned to you, and get the details.
Indeed.
All right. They tell you that it's just north of town. They lend you a small horse that you can ride out there with in order to expedite travel. But you are able to get there by mid-afternoon or so. And how would you go about this? You see that you have arrived at one of the farms. You see kind of the blood marks and the claw marks in the ground and everything where some of the livestock have been taken. The farmer kind of points that out to you. What would you do to, perform the mission at this point. You have arrived at the site. You've seen where the blood has been spilled, where the scene of the crime is, basically.
From the mission briefing, do they say they return every night to take in livestock?
Fortunately, not. It's only every few days.
Every few days. I would go to one of the farmers, and I would. How much do you wager would one of their livestock cost?
The livestock would be between 5 silver for smaller creatures like sheep and whatnot. But meat-producing livestock and whatnot would be close to a gold apiece.
I would negotiate on buying one, like maybe a cow or something, to use as bait. And I will be setting my operation during the night, because that seems to be the best time for them to show up. And I'm gonna be setting up like maybe a few meters away from the farm and just try to bait it out.
Okay, yeah. So they would. The Fighters Guild will repay you for any of these kind of on-the-job expenses, that kind of a thing. So don't worry about removing that from your inventory. But yeah, you're able to take it kind of like the animal got out of the fence, out of the pasture kind of a thing, I'm assuming, kind of along some of the more wild areas on the outskirts of the farm.
Yeah, as a setup, I will be setting the cow on a spot where they can be easily seen, but I will be close by with a crossbow bolt ready for whatever approaches.
Okay. Yeah, the farmer tells you that most of this stuff happens in the dead of night, so they would, let you kind of hang out in the farmhouse type area, make sure that you're fed and that you have everything that you need and whatnot. And then at night, you lead the cow out, you set it up, and you get ready in a perch somewhere nearby. We'll say that there's a fallen tree, so there's kind of a very large, almost hollowed out log kind of a thing that you can kind of crouch behind to get a good vantage point. And after about an hour and a half or so, you think you hear something in the distance. Go ahead and roll me a perception check.
14.
14, yeah. You're definitely able to identify that some large creature is kind of scratching at the dirt, kind of sniffing, kind of making a lot of noise. I guess subtle noises, not enough to like scare other livestock, but there's outside noise that isn't the usual birds and squirrels and that kind of stuff that are in the forest type areas nearby. Are you going to fire the second you see it, or are you going to wait for it to get close to the cow?
Yeah, I will be waiting for it to get closer to the bait when they are like 10 feet away from each other.
Okay, not a problem. Then you see these eyes, kind of these green reflective eyes from the farmhouse behind. They don't have electric lights or anything, but there's still some lamp light or something like that on within the farmhouse. And so you can just kind of see that faint glint and reflection of that light in this creature's eyes. And it begins creeping towards you. Go ahead and roll me a nature check to see if you can identify what this animal is.
10.
10. You're not exactly sure off the top of your head what it is. It looks like almost like a wolf, but not quite. It's a little bit bigger. The hair is more coarse. The jaws are larger. The snout is a little bit different. But it's definitely a large predator. You're guessing kills primarily with its teeth as opposed to claws. But it does have some claws available for use. And you see it creep towards you, or creep towards that cow. Go ahead and give me a stealth check to stay unnoticed. And since you're not moving, I'm not going to make you roll with disadvantage.
Cool. That's 19.
19, yeah. You remain completely hidden from this beast, and it gets within 10 feet of the cow. Go ahead and release your bolt, or arrow, whatever it is.
17.
17, yeah. That definitely hits this creature's hide, and it lets out a very loud roar. And go ahead and we will roll initiative.
All right.
That was a 14 for it.
Ooh, that's a 10 for me.
A 10, okay. It lets out a roar, and it begins looking around at you. Go ahead and roll me another... Oh, no, wait, you fired, so you would be out of stealth. So it is able to see you, and it charges up to you, jaws wide open. Ah! Drop my die. That is a 14 plus 4 for an 18, so that I believe hits.
Yeah.
All right, it's
hits.
Yeah, it's jaws. You know, you're kind of putting your crossbow down, trying to get your battle standard out, and it bites down on the side of your arm. Not doing a ton of damage because of the armor in the way of its teeth, but it definitely hurts quite a bit. And that deals to you 6 points of piercing damage.
Ooh.
I rolled backs if that helps, so.
Yeah, trying to shake off their grip on my arm, and I'm just gonna furl my battle standard, and I'm gonna use Ambit of Authority, using Ferocity instead, damage bonus +1.
Alright.
And as an action, might as well, I'm gonna brandish my... Oh no, I still don't have my katana. Yeah, so I'll be using the battle standard.
Okay.
13 to hit.
13 is 1 point shy. Oh, no, wait, no, it's not. It's 1 point over. So then you are able to skewer right behind the front leg, kind of in its upper chest type area. You are able to stab it with that blade, or with your battle standard.
Alright, so that's 6 plus 1, total of 7 piercing damage.
Alright, it lets out a very loud howl as it definitely was wounded pretty grievously by that strike. And it... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, have we... I don't... Did we roll damage for the crossbow?
Oh, no, we didn't. Go ahead and roll that damage. Sorry about that.
Alright. 2.
2. Okay. It's even more grievously wounded at that point, as your strike caught it just next to where the crossbow bolt still lays, or still is lodged within it, so it's definitely in a greater amount of pain. It lets out that howl and kind of jumps back, dislodging that spear tip, or the blade from its side, and it pounces on you. Go ahead and give me a strength saving throw.
15.
15, all right, yeah, that's more than what you needed. So it goes to pounce on you, and you just kind of shove back using the haft of your battle standard to kind of push it backwards as it tried to knock you to the ground and gore you. So because that attack missed, you do not take any damage, or because you didn't fall prone, you don't take any damage on it. We then move on to your turn.
I'm going to do a wide sweep and try to hit it with the blade on its side.
Okay.
Ooh, that's a 10.
10 does not quite hit. Yeah. When you threw it back, it was able to kind of do that zigzag thing back and forth to get out of the way of your strike. It's going to go ahead and try once again to pounce upon you. Go ahead and give me another strength saving throw.
Oh, lower? That's a 14.
A 14, still, it meets a beat, so you are able to once again throw this beast back and take no damage as it tried to gore at you again. So go ahead, or maul you. So go ahead and once again it is your turn.
Yeah, I'll try to retaliate. Oh dear. 9.
9 to hit. No, it nimbly once again, same thing as last time, weaves back and forth to get out of the striking range of your weapon.
Yeah,
it has seen... Oh, go ahead.
As a bonus action, I would square off with it. Try to make myself square my shoulders in front of it, not make myself look like easy prey. And I'm gonna use Icon of Might. That is a 10, so just a normal. They have -1 to attack rolls whenever they're 10 feet within 10 feet of me.
Okay. Well, it has seen that it is not going to be able to knock you prone, so it is going to go ahead and just bite at you again. Yep. And that was a 15 plus 4, so that is a 19 to hit. And it deals to... Yep.
Even with the -1.
Yeah, well, yeah, -1 would be 8, so it would still hit. And that time, 5 points of damage to you.
Alright.
Go ahead then, it is your turn.
Yep. Shrug their grip on me off, and yeah, I would stab it again.
Okay.
Am I pretty sure now what this creature looks like?
You can make another nature check if you want. Otherwise, you can wait until you've killed it, and then you can identify it.
Yeah, I would rather. Yeah,
Okay.
I would rather kill it first. 17?
Yes, that hits.
Okay, that's 7 piercing damage plus 1, 8 piercing damage total.
Yes, that definitely hits.
Alright, yeah, I would do the same bonus action of Icon of Might. That's a mishap. I rolled a 7. So yeah, they won't have a -1 to attack rolls.
Okay. And that was your action or bonus action?
That's my action and bonus action. So
Okay, at this point it is very, very badly wounded, and it is going to go ahead and disengage and take off into the forest. Go ahead and roll your attack of opportunity.
alright. 17? Another 17.
Yeah, 17 definitely hits. Go ahead and roll damage.
That's an 8 plus 1, 9 piercing damage.
9 piercing. That is 1 more damage than what you needed to bring it down. So you stab at it as it goes to turn and flee, and you catch it right where you imagine its heart would be within that chest cavity, and it takes a couple of limping steps and falls to the ground and dies. If you want to go ahead and make another nature check, go ahead.
Was it a nature check? Okay.
Yeah, nature, sorry.
That's 14? Slightly better?
Yeah, slightly better. You're not 100% sure. You can definitely tell that this is some sort of magical beast of some variety, so it wouldn't be a naturally occurring type animal, not like a wolf or anything like that, but it's definitely something to take note of. So if you want to, you are more than welcome to take it back to the Mages Guild and give it to the Druids, or if you want to run it to the Temple Guild, one of the Nature Temple Guilds or something like that, you are more than welcome to do that as well.
Yeah, I have 2 options. The Druids and the Mage Guild.
Yeah, you could take it to the Fighters Guild and have them deal with it too, but you're pretty sure that one of those 2 would be your best bet.
Yeah, I would take the body with me to the Druids. So
yeah, so you're able to load it into kind of a skid or whatever, something along those lines. You borrow a couple of fallen branches from that tree and borrow or I guess you could use some of the pine-type boughs in order to make kind of a skid. And you're able to load the body onto this thing. The farmer thanks you graciously. Having heard the noise, he looked out and watched. Thanks you very graciously, and you head back to the Druid Circle in the Mages Guild. The Druids take it and are very baffled by this creature. They say it looks almost like a wolverine, like a dire wolverine or something, but there's no way that something like this would be here. They're extremely confused, but invite you to come back tomorrow, and they would be more than happy to try and figure this out and report back to you with what kind of strange magics have affected this creature.
yeah, that would still evening at this point, right?
Oh yes, still evening.
Yeah, I would love to come back in the morning to get more information for the report before turning in the quest.
Okay, so then would you return to the Fighters Guild and sleep there, or would you go back to the Drunken Monk?
I would go back to the Drunken Monk.
Alright, you return back there. Isla kind of yawns as she hears you knock at the door to gain entry, and she waves you through and says, "Oh, I'm sure you've got a story to tell me later. Go on up to bed." And she locks the doors behind you. So then we'll go ahead then and start the next day, the 21st. So then you are able to, wake up in the morning, no problems. You're a bit stiff and sore from crouching behind that log as long as you were. But you're able to do your stretching out. You maintain your armor and do your morning ritual of chopping wood for Isla, who is very curious about what's going on, but knows that you've got somewhere to be, so she'll just interrogate you later over food. And I'm assuming you set off for the Mages Guild before heading to the Fighters?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you head over to the Mages Guild, and the Druids are still kind of perplexed as to what happened, but they said, yeah, this is indeed a cross between a wolf and a wolverine. They're not sure how this strange combination could happen. They could tell that these creatures, have been molded by magic almost, but that would insinuate that some sort of rogue druid or green sorcerer or something like that is doing some very unhealthy things to animals. It could also mean that the Fae are playing around and messing with things, which is a bit concerning. Portals open up in a tangle all the time to the Fey realms, but not here on the Isle of Thalos. So they kind of beseech you to, when you have a chance, look up near the farms where you found that and figure out if there's some sort of hedge mage doing terrible things, or if the Fae are just up to pranksing. They'll pay you greatly for doing this.
All right, I will take note of their request, and after that I would head to the Fighters Guild, turn in the quest, and submit my report.
All right, you head up to the Fighters Guild, you fill out your report. The paperwork takes a little bit longer than normal because you have that now new quest linked there with the Mages Guild, but you're able to get it all filled out. They pay you 2 gold pieces for the job, a little bit less than what you're used to, but since you're a part of the guild now, you do jobs for a cut rate because you get all the guild services and that kind of stuff. So you get the 2 gold pieces for the job, and then I'm assuming you head down and talk to Viridian and get your weapon and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. How much was it again? I believe I paid 28, correct?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I'll just deduct that. Yeah.
Okay, you get that done. You talk with Viridian, you take a few practice swings. He adjusts the wrapping on the grip, to make sure that it fits your hand better, either adding or removing a couple of layers to get it just right. And, then it would be the afternoon. What would you like to do in the afternoon?
Oh, I thought we were gonna end this right now.
Oh, yeah, we can end this right now. That's not a problem.
Yeah, if for a chance to do a downtime with the other folks, I'm okay ending things, sir.
All right, so then you head back to the Drunk Mug. You regale Isla with all of the stories that you have heard, or all the crazy stuff that has happened. And we will pick up next time on the 22nd of Planting, hopefully with a small group. So thank you very much for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I'm glad we're able to get you going again and get another person caught up with the rest of the group.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what comes next. See you guys.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Chaos Plan. If you would like to know more about the show, visit our Patreon page, and if you join, you can possibly join the show here. So thank you all very much, and we hope to see you next game.